We are following late-breaking news, new development as we come on the air for you tonight at 5. A man has been shot in Nelson County and has died. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Connie Leonard. According to Kentucky State Police, he was shot and killed by a Nelson County Sheriff's deputy. KSP spokesperson Brian Washer tells WHAS11 it happened on Bloomfield Road near Guthrie Drive. He confirmed no officers were killed in the shooting, but it wasn't immediately clear if any officers were injured.
Now, WHAS 11 News has a reporter on the way to the scene. This is the developing story. We'll bring you updates here throughout our newscasts and on WHAS11.com. Also breaking tonight, a story has been developing all day long. A woman is dead in Minneapolis after the Department of Homeland Security says an ICE agent shot her earlier today. Late this afternoon, the mayor of that city in an impassioned news conference said he saw the video of the incident and claims the agent's actions were not self-defense.
Now, you can see some of that scene now. DHS says the woman tried to run an ICE officer over with her car. Again, the agency says the officer feared for his life and for the safety of the public.
Now, the incident happened after Homeland Security deployed more than 2,000 ICE agents to Minneapolis in what it says is the largest immigration operation ever.
The city and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz confirmed the shooting in a social media post. He later held a news conference. ABC's Rena Roy with the details.
To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
A blunt message to ICE from Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey after authorities say federal immigration agents shot and killed a woman this afternoon during what they say were targeted operations.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying.
Disturbing video shows the moments after the shooting. You can see paramedics running to the car. The Department of Homeland Security is saying the 37-year-old who was killed was blocking the roadway and, quote, weaponized her vehicle as officers were trying to get their car out of the snow.
They were attempting to push out their vehicle and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them.
Local police saying this.
A federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired.
Federal authorities arguing the ICE officer feared for his life and fired defensive shots.
The vehicle started to move, and I could see what appeared to be an immigration enforcement officer yelling through the window at the driver of the car. And then I saw the officer reach his hand holding a gun through the driver's side window, and multiple shots were fired.
Video shows protesters clashing with law enforcement, throwing snowballs at vehicles, tear gas deployed into the crowd.
We have been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt, and today that recklessness cost someone their life.
The Trump administration says 2,000 agents had recently been deployed to Minneapolis. As we just heard, the mayor now demanding they leave the city, saying they are only causing chaos. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
We are continuing to follow this developing story, breaking both on air and online. The best way to stay up to date with breaking news updates, by the way, is by downloading our WHAS 11 app. It's free to download wherever you get your apps. Got another weather change on the way. This time rain to move out, move into Kentuckiana, and then much colder air after that, Connie.
Absolutely. And Mallory, the last couple of days, it looks like it's rained in the mornings, but it really hasn't rained, right?
Yeah, that's all been road sweat, which I know sounds strange, but that means our road temperature is actually lower than our dew point. We can get more into that later, but your 3-day forecast here, we certainly have some changes on the way. Temperatures soar well into the 60s Thursday and Friday. We're going to have 2 rounds of rain this week. The first arriving Thursday night into early Friday, which could impact your Friday morning commute, which is why we have a weather impact alert on that. That second round of rainfall surging in from the south Friday night into Saturday. Temperatures will be dropping throughout the day on Saturday, really that second half of the day, and then dipping down below freezing Saturday night. So certainly some changes are on the way. Max HD radar. We have been dry today. We enjoyed a lot of afternoon sunshine, but we do have some clouds that are rolling right back in time for sunset. A live look from our Hughes and Coleman UVL Health camera. Beautiful shot out there. Temperatures today, not quite as warm as yesterday, but very comfortable in the 50s. And we are expecting a quiet evening with overnight lows dipping down into the upper 30s and lower 40s. Of course, we'll talk much more about our rain chances and when those temperatures plummet. That's coming up in our 7-day forecast.
Mallory, thank you. Doctors are warning families to brace for a rough flu season. In Jefferson County, the health department recorded more than 3,700 cases of flu since September.
A lot more people I noticed today around town, Connie, wearing masks as well. The variant strains are a factor, but some doctors say people are also skipping the flu shot. It comes as federal health officials release some new recommendations on that. WHAS 11's Conroy Deluche is here with more on this impact to your kids. Conroy?
Doug, Connie, just this week, federal health officials announced they will no longer recommend that all children 6 months and older get a flu vaccine, that parents should consult their health care experts before making a decision. Now, Louisville pediatricians I spoke with say the science has not changed and kids should still get their vaccines. Inside All Children Pediatrics, there are 2 waiting rooms.
If there's a child here that has a fever, we want to keep them physically distant from a child that is well.
Before her lunch break, Dr. Megan Crease says she saw at least 6 flu patients.
We've definitely seen a large case of influenza A thus far at a higher rate than we typically would see at this time of year.
In Jefferson County, more than 3,700 reported cases this season, including more than 2,000 in women. Across the Norton healthcare system, more than 2,000 kids had a positive flu test over a recent 2-week period. Experts say a variant is a factor.
Subclade K could drive a rough flu season. The other thing that will drive a rough flu season is not enough people have been immunized.
And just this week, federal officials announced they will no longer recommend flu vaccines for kids 6 months and older, saying families should consult with a doctor.
That's always good advice, but pediatricians tend to follow the recommendations of the American Academy of Pediatrics.
A recommendation that calls for anyone eligible over 6 months old to get a vaccine, a stance emphasized by the Kentucky Department for Public Health in a letter, and also by Dr. Crease and Dr. Chris Bryant from Norton.
The flu vaccine protects adults and children against the most severe consequences of flu.
And if there is hesitancy among parents, Dr. Crease says that's a conversation she is ready for.
Typically, if we can sit down and we can work through as to where the questioning has started, then we can find a happy compromise.
This all comes as experts expect a rough flu season just 1 year after one of the deadliest seasons for the flu among kids. With photojournalist Connie Offit, Conroy Deluche, WHAS 11 on your side. Now, despite the new recommendations from the federal government, officials say the flu vaccine will still be covered by private insurance and federal programs. If you want to see Louisville's full dashboard, including where the highest number of flu cases have been recorded so far this flu season, you can find a link on our website. Connie, Doug, back to you.
All right, thank you so much.
More top stories for you tonight. The man accused of kidnapping a Linden mother at knife point in her own home and then taking her and her children to rob a bank near Oxmoor Center had a hearing today. Armand Langford could go to prison for at least 10 years after violating his shock probation.
Now, Focus reporter Travis Breeze tells us the reason why Langford said he wanted to go back to prison.
On August 8th, 2025, the East End area around Oxmoor Center was in a panic during a 6-hour manhunt. Police arrested Armand Langford and said he randomly kidnapped a mother and her 2 children, took them to rob a PNC bank, and stabbed the mother in her side. Langford's case has gotten a lot of attention, with some city leaders saying it's inexcusable he was given shock probation in 2024. On Wednesday, Langford said he was ready to go back to prison, but Judge Jessica Green was not ready to make that call.
Does that answer all the questions that you have? No, I want to get revoked. I'm not doing that today.
Langford begged Judge Green to revoke his shock probation and send him back to prison to finish his sentence, saying he was attacked in jail.
Mr. Langford, I done got stabbed. I'm trying to get revoked, fam. I want to get revoked. I'm not trying to be, I just got stabbed.
A jail spokesperson said Langford has been involved in some incidents, but would not confirm a stabbing. Judge Green sentenced Langford to 14 years in prison in February of 24. 5 months later, she granted his request for shock probation with several conditions. Judge Green faced death threats for that decision after Langford was arrested in August and the case history came out.
A competency motion has been filed.
I'm competent.
Green says she will not send him back to prison until a doctor comes and testifies about his mental health.
So I understand your angst. I understand where you are, but everybody in this room has a job to do.
The competency hearing is scheduled for March 5th. Langford will remain in LMDC until that time. In Louisville, Travis Breeze, WHAS 11 on your side.
Well, Langford's court case for the alleged bank robbery and kidnapping is still in the pretrial phase.
Yeah, it's unclear if those penalties would be added to the end of his previous 14-year sentence, but experts have told us he will go to prison for a long time.
Another top story here tonight at 5. We have been following today major new developments today in the aftermath of the UPS plane crash from November 4th. All of the debris from the jet itself has now been removed from the Louisville site and shipped off to Texas. That detail coming from a briefing today by Louisville emergency officials. Also, 1 week from today, businesses in the area of the deadly UPS plane crash site will be able to return to their buildings. According to emergency services, crews worked through the holidays to continue cleaning up the crash site. LG&E completed its work, the restoration on the site. The businesses will have some restrictions when they return. Tony Parrott with Louisville MSD says the agency has removed about 4.7 million gallons of oily water, including 200,000 gallons of oil.
Half of the oil has been removed from the site and has been incinerated. More than 1.5 million gallons of recovered water has been treated at an on-site treatment facility and discharged into the MSD system and treated at one of our treatment plants.
As businesses return, it's important to note that this area is not quite ready for you and the general public to visit or use. Part of Crittenden Drive to Knopp Avenue still has some environmental remediation going on as we speak. As we learn more about the UPS crash, and again, we wait for the final NTSB report about 1 year from the crash date, you can get the latest by following us on the air, online, our mobile app, and our free streaming app available on smart TVs.
Well, you are taking a live look in Frankfort, where Governor Andy Beshear will soon give his State of the Commonwealth address. It's less than 30 minutes away. Our political reporter Isaiah Kim Martinez is there, and we will get to hear the governor's top priorities for the year coming up.
And ahead, President Donald Trump insists the U.S. will be taking full control of Venezuela's oil industry. The tension between the two nations escalating tonight as 2 more oil tankers have been seized. The details coming up.
And here's a check of today's Kentucky Lottery jackpots. Mega Millions, $199 million. Powerball, $105 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.